front of you is Maniki Keiro. I'm an elder of the PCEA at the River Church, and also the patron of the youth group within our church, and also the wider aspect of the teenage program. In this case, what I'm doing now is actually I'm now acting as the patron, and wherever now we are going to talk about, we are going to talk about youth now, and how we project to take the youth group in the future. This year we have programs we want to do for the youth, and as you know, the Youth Day is approaching very fast. We are planning to have the day on 2nd of May. The plan is that we are going to, apart from the normal service that we usually do, right now when there is lockdown, we are going to do it online. We will also require some funds because we have several aspects that we want to do, and the way we want to carry it out is that we are going to look at the whole spectrum of the youth, because in most cases we usually talk of youth and then you get that we usually narrow between 21 and around 28 years. But now we are going to talk about from 16 years, that is the teenage, which we are talking about the teens, going all the way up to the 35 years. As you have known is that somehow we have put some segregation in terms of the way we look at youth. We have the teens, which reach up to around 21 years. Then we usually have the youth, the mainstream youth, and we have the senior youth, who we usually categorize between 28 and 35. All those categories, we are going to have programs for each of them. Let me first of all start with the senior youth. We have held some meetings with them, and I would say thank you to all the senior youth, because we called them, they came. Not even when we usually call people and tell them they are going to have lunch. This time around they just came and they said they want actually to be contributor and also to be part of this church and also to be part of the progress of this church. And one aspect that we want to cater for them, because for senior youth, most of them you'll get they are working. Then it means that it's not possible to have a program that takes a week or 2 weeks. So from the discussions that we have had is that we are going to have seminars or workshops, but they are workshops that are geared towards their needs. We shall not just take workshops or seminars that are just seminars, but seminars that are geared towards their needs. There are several things we have discussed and of what they would want to discuss in their seminars, and we are sure that if at all we can get the funds, we will be really ready and willing to engage them, because they are resourceful. They are people who can even mentor our teens and even the mainstream youth. So it means we have two folds for the senior youth. One is to empower them. The other one is to ensure that they mentor our younger youth, so that we go as one band. As they grow, they get off the senior youth, the others are getting senior youth, the other ones are also getting to the mainstream, and we will have people who will also join the teen program. So that one, we thank the senior youth for that and for their generosity in terms of being available when we asked for them. The other aspect that we have is that the mainstream and the teens, we have identified several things. One is the skills gap. We have the issue of the skills gap, and also we have the other aspect of what skills they have. There is the gap, what they don't have, and the skills that they have. Let me elaborate. We have an accountant. So it means that person has a skill. But on the other hand, maybe is an accountant, but is not really good in terms of IT. Whereas these days, if you look at all the jobs that people are asked, there is that aspect of, are you IT qualified? So in this case, that person has a skill, but there is a skill gap or at the same time. So in this case, what we are proposing to do for this year, that is 2021-2022 year, is that we will be making an inventory of all the youth and what they have as a skill, so that we are able to know who do we need. If we are going for media, who can we go for? If we need some aspect of accounting in youth, who can we go for? If actually we have the issue of IT, who can we go for? So that inventory is, we are trying to build it up so that we have an inventory that will guide us when we are making our programs. Now, when it comes to the skills gap, is where we are saying there are those things that people need to have but they don't have. And in this aspect, we first of all we don't want to go where we are broad based. We do all things. It means we might not get anywhere. So we are first of all trying to narrow it out down to the IT skill, because IT skill is now becoming an essential aspect. And what we want is that we want to create an IT hub within our church. Like for example, we have the PCMF office. We can have about 2 or 3 computers, desktop computers, and we also have a server. What it means is that even the documents for the church will be saved in one central place, the server. If, for example, we need groups, they need their documents to be put in soft, then it can be done and saved in that server, which is under the control of the church, not an individual. Because currently you might get that I have my laptop, so I usually do the work of PCMF on my laptop, which means if I go with all the knowledge that I have been gathered, or all the documents that I have been getting. So in this case, we will be confining our documents within the church. So in this case, the other aspect that we will do for that, apart from having now those computers, is that we shall have people, resourceful people, to teach and to train our youth so that they are able to understand and to operate the computers, and also to be savvy in their IT skills. The other thing, the other component within this IT aspect, is that we would want to create a website for our church, and not only for our church, even for our school, such that these days people, like for example, let me move out from the church and go to the school. These days people, when they are looking for schools, they don't travel like the way they used to do or go for flyers. They actually go to the internet to check for schools, and then once they see, they go for the website of those schools, and they are able to learn about that school, and then they can visit that school. So that is one advantage that we shall get if we create those websites. The other thing is that the programs, the way forward, our way of looking in terms of the church, will also be projected out there. Right now, in the cyberspace, we are not actually visible. We are only visible once in YouTube when we do the preaching. But how about the bigger picture of our church? That is what we are looking for. So that will be the short-term project that we are going to have. We might scale it from 3 computers to maybe even 10, where we can have even a full-fledged school for IT. Then after that, the second project that we have, we need also a project that is income generating. And when we talk about income generating, we are thinking like this church actually has water, and actually at this moment they are selling that water. If we had a tuk-tuk, the tuk-tuk that usually have a carrier, actually we can deliver that water to our people. Because currently now we are selling water to actually only the people who are surrounding our church, or even mostly the people who are in our estate. But there are other people out there who do want water in bulk. And how can they access that? Is if we can deliver that water to them, then it can both be income generating for us as a church, youth group, and as a church as an entity. At the same time, our own youth will also be employed. So in this case, we are going to have two issues sorted at one go. So that is the kind of overview or the kind of mission we feel we are going to do for our youth this year. And all those aspects that we are talking about, we are preparing proposals, proper proposals. We don't want where we shall say our program, we are going to get funds for our IT skills program, and then it rolls over for the next 3 years without any tangible results. We are going to do it in such a way that it will have a time frame, it will have the resources, it will have the kind of management that is required in those projects. So in this year, I'm saying this as the patron of youth. Let us go out there. Let us work hard. Let us do what we do. But on 2nd of May, let us give our funds, let's give ourselves to the youth so that we are able to actualize our goals that we have set to do. And let me say this, it's not only in terms of money. If you can give us a good desktop or maybe a good server, we will appreciate. We are going to appreciate, because what we want is to see the project is working and running. Right now, I will talk about something about youth. This is not really the normal way of talking about youth or about the group, but I want to talk about the experience. Sometimes it is the age difference is quite a lot, because the way the youth will look at issues and the way I will look at issues, sometimes you will not come to a conclusion, or it will diverge in a way that our outlook is not the same. But I would definitely say something very hard when, apart from that divergency, which is always very good, because it also shows that we are growing and we are having a new way of looking at things. But if I can talk about the youth group, I appreciate the youth group and the way it is working. It's not only the leadership that is there, but also the members who are in the youth. If you look at the youth, you get that their participation is actually broad-based. There are those who are in evangelism, there are those who are in praise and worship, there are those who are in a media team, there are those who are supporting the other groups. That is something that is showing that we have a future in this church. That is something that is telling us this church has a youth that is there to stay. We are talking a youth which knows and understands that this church is their church. So for me, I'm happy and very pleased, and I would say that they need support, because with that, it means that as we go towards retirement in whichever places we are, whether we are deacons, whether we are elders, whether we are chairman of groups, there is somebody who is ready to take over. For example, one good thing that if everyone can testify is the media team. That aspect of media team is very, very important, in the fact that during lockdown we are still getting our preaching program. We can get our messages from our reverend and other preachers within our church, and that is good support for our spiritual growth within the church. The other aspect that I would also talk about is the issue of teens. Teens is a program that is being run within the church. We can't say it is the youth program, but it is the church program because it is actually supported by the LCC. But it's very important to understand that when you look at the teens program, the youth are always present. As we train the teens, they are always present. That means that they are there to support where they are needed. Every day, every time we have that program, from Wednesday up to Saturday, they have actually programmed themselves, those to come on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And also, they usually include the teens in their programs, which they usually hold on Sundays. So what I can say is this: as a church, let us have a positive vibe with our youth, because it has really made my morale to grow as the patron of the youth. What I can say about them is that they are not selfish. Whatever they have learned from the senior youth, now the ones we are calling the senior youth, they are also trying to impact it on the teens, which now means that we are also, there is some germination that is taking place. Kwa sababu ukienda kwa zizi ukose dama, ni kumaanisha mfuga yako inaisha. Lakini ukipata kuna dama, unajua zizi lako litaendelea kupanuka. Na that is the motto that I have seen with our youth. May God bless them, and to me, may God give you that energy to continue with that program. And also, you are giving yourself to the church and for the progress of spiritual growth and kueneza injili ya Yesu Kristo. Amen.